Pain is temporary. Glory is forever. It's Ultimate Combat Radio, only on 1280 and 97.5 The Zone.
Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidham here, talking some mixed martial arts. And the intro said, pain is temporary unless you're on Tim Goodwin's diet. Then
then it's permanent. I do see a little tear running down the cheek of Mike Stidham right now.
I hang on every word that comes out of his mouth. I mean, he's like he's my guru, right? But this is hurting me to even contemplate taking his advice on this one. It's going to kill me.
It won't kill you. I think it'll be good for you, Mike.
I kind of gave you the analogy off the air that I kind of compare it to, and it just seems miserable.
Well, it's once you stabilize those blood sugars, it's not as miserable as you think you are. Get your toxins out of your body.
You know what? Honestly, I think that's the answer. If you feel better, across the board, then yeah, it makes sense. I'm going to give it a shot.
My joke is always about this MMA is when the gladiators going to come back, and if you do some research and look at what the gladiators used to eat back in the day, and they were, they fought all day, they woke up in the morning. Think about what they did 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years ago, man.
They had to do that. And your analogy about the Falcon, the Falcons have to do that because they don't have a choice.
Hey, we're talking world-class athletes here. If you want to be a sucker and sit around and watch the show, but if you want to get in the cage, you got to step up, man.
I hear you. Good
call. What? His diet sounded bad until he said he had half a cow in his garage. I'm down with that.
Well, not only that, man. I mean, just the gorging part. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
All right. The poll question tonight is: do you think the government needs to be meddling in our mixed martial arts? And Brandon, what do you think? What say you? Let's debate this topic.
Well, I'm leaning towards yes, because although the athletic commission seems like they don't do a very good job at times, and they may be a little...
You mean ever?
Yeah, that.
So it's not so much government per se, it's these particular players.
We need somebody to look out for, well, I'm not going to name any names, but there are some people out there who... these guys, they'd fight anyone that you put in front of them, and somebody's got to be there to step in and say, this promoter is willing to put these two guys together because he's got to fill a card, and one of them is likely going to get murdered.
I kind of get that. But the same doesn't happen in football. The same doesn't happen in hockey. And there's nobody there saying that you guys can't, skate against each other or play against each other this weekend, but across the board, let's say if you and I want to go play a pickup football game on a football field somewhere, we can do that. You can't go have a boxing match or an MMA match anywhere without government regulations being involved, or you're committing a crime.
I would think football would need regulations before MMA would.
Amen, sister.
Don't you think?
Yes. It's far more dangerous. It's far more dangerous. And the nature of the injuries are far worse in football than what you've ever seen in MMA. And I'll even say this. More kids die playing Little League Baseball every year than die doing MMA. There have been 2 deaths that have been attributed even remotely to mixed martial arts, and an average of 8 kids die a year playing Little League Baseball.
Hey, how about this? How about the X Games,
Where's government regulation there? And that's some crazy stuff they're doing. Exactly. And who's telling that guy that you probably shouldn't jump off of that?
Well, that's a good point. I will say, oftentimes the promoters position on this is that, in a free market with no government intervention for a promoter to do shows, eventually the poor promoters are going to weed themselves out. I think it would be sad to see fighters contracting HIV, hepatitis, and getting killed in the process of weeding those promoters out.
I agree with that across the board. And look, again, I think as the general public, we can decide if I want to go shop at that store because they have clean stuff, or we're not going to shop at that store. And so there has to be some personal accountability. And I don't see people dropping like flies in Wyoming. There's no regulation there. There's no commission there. So why are they not dying of AIDS up there as a result of their participation in mixed martial arts? And they have a lot of fights up there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I'm not, necessarily completely sold on the commission. That's the way it is and as far-reaching as it is. But it does seem like there needs to be something there. We can't just have people running out. And I guess the other thing, well, I don't know. You kind of have me on this because you often use the skiing, snowboarding analogy. you're allowed anyone. You
go
don't
up
have
to
the
the
license to go up there and do that.
Exactly.
So that's a tough point to argue. I would say maybe the fact that a promoter's coming into this and he's benefiting from it in that he's making money off of putting people together, where a pickup football game, nobody's selling tickets to that, making money on that.
As is the general contractor who hires you and says, climb up there or that high thing and fix that. I mean, there's that as well. I mean, so yes, there's government regulations that already cover those kind of things. If you're getting some people to do things that are unsafe, then you've got to be able to monitor yourself. We're getting cut off. We're getting kicked off the air. They said, in fact, I think the government just showed up. All right, we got some fights to go watch. We're going to cheer for Joe Martinez doing his thing tonight, and we'll be back doing some more Ultimate Combat Radio next week. We'll see you then.
Awesome.